Welcome back, and before we deal with the bombs on the seawall below Genosha, I'm changing the entire party, and there is a reason for this. I'm getting Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Bishop, and Sunfire involved, and when I do that,
New X-Men!
this happens. There are certain party combinations you can do that will give you stat bonuses, and this is the new X-Men one for extra health. Of course, that means now I'll have to heal everyone again because everyone's below max health. As for what I'm doing stats-wise with all of these guys, I'm pretty much just going down the line and making it even, although I am putting a little more in Strike for Nightcrawler. And I am making sure that he has a teleport ability, because that'll be important later on. Equipment, I kind of forgot to stock up on the waste parts, but we can always take care of that later. Sunfire, I'm putting a bit more in focus because of his ability. That's this ability, actually, that I'm going to use a lot later on. But I also want to make sure that he has at least 1 point in flight, because you really should have a flyer in your party pretty much at all times. Bishop is arguably the least important person here. I just kind of wanted to show him off. Although at this stage in the game, he doesn't have a whole lot ability-wise. He has the Bio Beam and the Plasma Blaster. And once we get out in the field, I'll try to make use of those more and show off what they have. And then his only other thing to put points into is Energy Combat. That's kind of the thing that sucks about trying to do builds on like certain characters this early, is there just aren't that many options. However, you can also do this and switch certain characters to classic costumes, which is another reason why I wanted all these guys in the party. I prefer like long hair, mullet-ish Bishop over bald Bishop. That's just a personal preference thing. Now, I did take the time to buy a waist piece for Nightcrawler in particular, because all of his abilities are going to have him in close quarters. So, it's kind of important that he has a decent amount of health. And no, I'm not showing the whole walk back. We have to be very cautious now. If Apocalypse discovers we're here, he'll detonate the explosives and flood Genosha. Come on, let's get rid of the bombs on the seawall. So this is going to be very simple to start out with.
Thank heavens you're here. I'm the pilot of this dirigible, and I've loaded it with escaped prisoners from Genosha. The only problem is I can't get it free from the moorings.
You go ahead and finish prepping the ship. We'll clear the moorings for you.
Thanks. One more thing. Once you're done here, there are many more prisoners still in their cells. Could you free them?
Sure, we can do that. Now, in the early going, they're going to see 3 objectives pop up at once. The only one that's important right now is the first one that appeared. So, all of these big pillar things are the moorings. And with someone who's got like good physical abilities like Wolverine, you can take these out really quickly. The other objectives are going to be in a separate area. So, don't even need to think about the prisoners at all yet. As for the enemies that appear here, not a whole lot that's going to be much of a problem. Scavengers have like no abilities tied to them, they just shoot you. And then you have those energy demons, which also don't really have anything to write home about ability-wise. Only kind of annoying thing is the movement pattern for the scavengers, because they like to back up a lot if you try to get too close to them. Like you're seeing here, I've had instances where the scavengers like back themselves all the way up into a corner and then just have nowhere to go. Now, there are a ton of crates along the side of this room which have like tech bits and recovery items in them. I'm not going to show myself destroying every single one of them because it just takes way too long. And you don't really need to see that anyway. But particularly if you have recovery, like regeneration on Wolverine at this point, like, zero issue here.
Thank you. That does it. The ship is free to leave. We'll be taking off as soon as I get the engines warmed up. Good luck to you.
So you just go in a figure eight, destroy those pillars, and first objective is done. It doesn't take too long. It's not hard to find any of them because they're all marked on the map. And now you start making your way further inside. Now I am going to switch over to Nightcrawler for a bit because I want to show off like what his physical attacks look like, but also his powers play a certain role in part of this stage. From the looks of this broken statue, Apocalypse must not be a big fan of Magneto. Alright, so there's a few different ways you can go here, and the corridors do kind of wind around a little bit, but there are several rooms that are adjacent to each other, and you can just bust through a wall if you hit it enough. For Nightcrawler, I make use of his blade attack a lot, because it's something that he starts off with in the early going, and you can get like a stat that boosts the damage to blade attacks, as well as just a general offensive bonus. Now, as for what exactly I'm going to use his teleport abilities for one thing, he has a teleport attack. However, there's another thing. This door requires a security pass. Better see if one of the Brotherhood members of the team has the proper activation code.
As you wish.
Now we are going to not do anything about this just yet. So this is a hint of how to get past the security console and into that room where you can see a couple power-ups just laying out in the open. And if you do have a Brotherhood member in your party, they can in fact just walk up to the console, press a button, and open the door. But that's not the fun way to do it. This is going to be one of those areas where I'm actually going to play through it multiple times and show a couple of things that are different if you have like an all X-Men party versus if you approach it with a more Brotherhood-centric party. But for now, I'm going to try and show what Sunfire can do a little bit. His flamethrower ability is pretty good for racking up damage. However, look at how fast it drains his mutant points. Like, if you don't have a fair amount of recovery items to replenish that blue bar, like particularly this early on, where flamethrower just costs so much per second, you're not going to be able to use it very much. Which is why, when Sunfire is in my party, I usually let the CPU do it. Because they tend to get like more mileage out of the flamethrower than I do as a player. Now, as for Bishop, that move where he whips out the gun, that's the blaster move from before. And that can stun enemies at a pretty high rate. So, it's very good to have that for enemies that like move around a lot or try to run away, such as these guys. Now, the main reason to bother exploring all these side rooms, aside from just a few extra tech bits and a couple power-ups, is this. There's an energy tech station, and given that Sunfire just burns through his energy ridiculously fast, pun not intended, I decided to give it to him for this one. And even when I did like other playthroughs, I tried to make sure that like Sunfire got that. And as we weave our way through this hallway and a couple extra rooms, pretty much the same two enemies for the next few rooms, and then this is all going to lead toward this big open space. This is not the only path that leads to it. There are actually 3 different doors that lead into where we're eventually going. So there's lots of possibilities for like going through one path and then like snaking back through the others in case you really want to like grind XP or make sure that you're getting like all the items in an area. And I don't know why, but for this area in particular, I had a fascination with destroying bookshelves. Particularly ones like this that are just kind of leaning against the wall. I don't know why. It just bugs me. But for now, I'm going to swap over to Nightcrawler, and this is something I keep forgetting to do. You can't just, like, put points in it and expect to use it. You have to put points in it and assign it to a button. So I put Teleport Attack on, did a quick level up, and now we're back at this door where you need a Brotherhood member to... No, you don't. Nightcrawler just teleports right through it. And with that, we've got the 4th homing beacon necessary, so there is something that you can go back and do with that. But there are actually more than 4 homing beacons for each act. And if you get 4 of them, and there's still another left on the map, it becomes an XP drop. Which, I mean, at least you're getting some extra use out of that.
Scarlet Witch.
Now, for this, I've actually gone back and added Scarlet Witch to the party. Because, well, you'll see. Again, not much ability-wise right now. There's an absorption boost, a projectile, and then a boost related to, like, passive damage. But that's not the main reason she's here. I will add Claw Flurry to Wolverine, because that's a pretty useful ability to have. And for Sunfire, I'll give him Fiery Geyser just so he has an ability other than, like, that massive drain on points. But we're going back here, and...
Hey! What's an X-Man doing here?
helping to save Genosha. What are you doing pressed against that wall, Blob?
I was making a break for it when this bomb went off. I knew there wasn't enough time to run, so I decided I better hold this wall together. What are you laughing about?
It's just kind of funny that the only thing saving us from drowning in seawater is your backside.
Ha ha, very funny, Cupcake. But why don't you shut up and defuse the other bombs before they go off and kill us all?
Now, the bombs are on the floor, but the terminals to disable them are up here, in each of the corners. If you have a flyer, it's really simple to get to them. It's also simple to get to them with Nightcrawler, unless you only assigned Teleport Attack like I did, in which case he keeps trying to attack stuff on the ground. But, yeah, this is a really simple thing to do if you have a flyer in your party. There's one in the upper left corner, and you can just ignore the enemies for now. Your NPC buddies will take care of some of them. Well, probably not. They can be pretty passive even if you try to tell them to be more aggressive.
Additional energy to do that.
Sunfire's fire actually does burn damage to them, which helps them go down faster. But now we need to talk to Blob again. And you have to get really close to him for this.
Yeah, you done real good, X-Man. All the bombs are defused. Now, if it ain't too much trouble, would you do something to fix this wall I'm trying to support?
Now, two things. Number one, there's two different ways to do this. You can try using this console to move the support into place, but you need to replace one of the circuits in it. And the circuits are in this back room where that X is on the map. If I remember correctly, you can't do this early, because these items don't appear until after the objective pops. These spare parts may be just the thing to get the computer console for the seawall support system up and running. So now, after dealing with these enemies, if you want to, you can just run back downstairs, go to the console, And once you do, it gives you the option to swap in the properly working circuit board. And once you do that, you can activate the console and move this into place.
That's better. Who'd have thunk an X-Men would be helping me?
Yeah, it's a strange time for all of us.
Well, looks like we're gonna have to work together again, 'cause we got company.
And Blob will fight alongside you for these guys. So, even if you're a bit underleveled, with Blob, like bouncing people around, it's not that bad of a fight. But the second thing that I was going to mention is, all of Blob's dialogue is unique depending on what party member you have active. If you have a Brotherhood member active, he gives you different dialogue than what you're hearing now. All of this is unique to if he's specifically talking to an X-Men member. So, yeah. Now you can just head back here, and...
You X-Men ain't much use in a fight. Where'd you be if I wasn't here to save you?
It's amazing we lasted this long without you, Blob.
So what's the plan?
We'll have Blink teleport you to the sanctuary. Then Professor Xavier can explain the situation to you.
Xavier? I don't like talking to that guy. I always get the feeling he's reading my mind.
Blink, could you get Blob?
Already on it, guys.
Thankfully, Blink can make decent-sized portals. So we're going to do this again. However, I'm going to have Juggernaut in the party. So now we'll have 2 Brotherhood members, and there is a reason I want him in the party specifically. And it has to do with another way to complete one of the objectives. He's got the shield, although I'm going like full offense, and then just loading up on critical strike. Now, I'm not going to show you the entire level again. We're just going to jump back to this point and make sure that a Brotherhood member is in control, and Blob says this.
Hey, buddy, how about a hand here?
Blob, what's going on here?
I was trying to escape from prison when this bomb went off. I didn't have much choice. It was either hold this wall together or drown. So here I am. Hey, what are you laughing about?
It's nice to see you finally found a good use for your weight problem.
I don't have a weight problem. I'm just big boned. But we ain't got time for chatting. You gotta defuse the other bombs before they go off.
Brotherhood constantly taking digs at each other. It's like having a team full of Gordon Ramsays. So, yeah, you destroy the bombs as usual. And, once again, I'm going to make sure a Brotherhood member is the active person when I go and talk to Blob, because this dialogue is also a little bit different based on whether you're Brotherhood or X-Men when you talk to him.
I kinda thought you'd cut out on me and leave me with those bombs. Thanks for defusing them. Now, could you do something about this wall I'm holding up?
Now, if you have a party member with might, you can just have them push the pillar into place without the computer. And that is why Juggernaut is here. And after breaking physics for a moment on both ends...
Thanks for saving me. But what are we doing working with the X-Men?
It's a long story.
Well, we ain't gonna have much time to talk right now, 'cause we got company.
And the rest of this kind of plays out as normal. Now, I'm not showing you this because of unique enemies. I mean, these guys have altered genetics. But aside from that, and I think one that's elemental enhanced, not a whole lot new here. I just like the visual of Juggernaut and Blob on screen together, just bodying everybody. Particularly using the Thunder Punch for Juggernaut, which actually kind of looks more like a lariat. I mean, either way, it's gonna hurt like hell, but still. So, when you get out of here and try to go to the next area, that dialogue is also different, as you're about to see.
It's good to see you guys, but what took you so long?
It wasn't exactly as easy as just walking into Genosha.
Yeah, I feel real bad for you. So what's next?
Blake can teleport you to the sanctuary, and then Xavier can explain the situation to you.
Oh, Xavier, he creeps me out. Feels like he's always reading my mind.
Blake, would you teleport Blob?
Sure thing. Here we go, Blob.
I don't know why I make it sound like everyone's just fed up with Blob, but
Alright.
there you go. So this is another thing that's different, depending on who's leading the party. Xavier, we're at the living quarters.
Very good. As you can see, the area has become a prison. You may want to return to the sanctuary and speak with Blake. I believe she has information you would find useful. If you decide to continue on, please try to free as many imprisoned Genoshans as you can.
As if we wouldn't have done that anyway. As the loading screen indicated, Lady Deathstrike is here, and if you're controlling a Brotherhood member,
You're not going any further in. As a matter of fact, you're not going anywhere at all. Consider this a dead end.
who are you?
My name is Lady Deathstrike. Of course, I already know who you are. Everyone has heard of the Brotherhood of Mutants. But tell me, why are you working with the X-Men? It's just not right.
We're not particularly happy about the arrangement, but we're stuck with it.
Since you are in league with the X-Men, it makes killing you much more satisfying. Anyone who works with Wolverine deserves death.
You may have claws just like Wolverine, but you aren't standing in our way.
Oh, but I have been paid quite well to not only stand in your way, I am to stand on your graves. After I have killed you, of course.
You're a mercenary.
Why do you ask? Would you prefer to buy your way out of this battle?
I'll pay you 2,000 tech bits to let us pass.
That will do nicely. It has been a pleasure doing business with you. A shame, though.
What's a shame?
I would have enjoyed battling with you.
Yeah, if you're Brotherhood, you can just bribe Lady Deathstrike. You pay her, she goes away, and the boss fight never happens. For next time, we're going to do that again with Wolverine as the active member, and words will be exchanged.